Hey folks, alright. Hey everyone, this is episode 349 of the OotiniCast. Doing this as a live show, and then we will edit the audio, put it out as a podcast going out tomorrow. And Dr. SWTOR and I are joined by Swtorista, wonderful returning guest. And
Hi.
she had her big announcement, which we'll be going over regarding Star Wars Celebration. So cool. Because I think maybe I'll probably bring this up if I'm right. On the last time you were here, didn't you say that you were trying to go for a booth?
I might have,
I
but
think
that
you
was a long
did.
time ago. This is a
Yeah.
long in the plans
I'm
making.
pretty sure, yeah, like on the last time you were here, you were saying that you were looking to do like a fan booth at Celebration, and sure enough, you managed to do it, which is amazing. So I also want to hear like how it came about too a
Yeah,
little bit,
definitely.
and then the Sarlacc Digest towards the end will actually go over the details of what will be involved with the booth, how people can get involved, what sort of fun things there'll be to do that are sort of revolving around it, all that good stuff. So, all right, we'll get going here in just a minute. Is there anything else that we need to do before we get going? Let's
I think I'm
see.
good.
All right, I'm gonna host OotiniCast on my personal stream as well. There we go. Hey, Marcus. And okay then, I think we're good to go. A little water. Oh yeah, I should tweet this out actually. Let me do that real fast, and then
I did as
I'll just
well.
jump right into it. Yep. All right. Let's see.
Oh, you've got one of those Galactic Starfighter posters in the background. I
Yeah,
must
yeah.
have gave me one of those to give away a really long time ago, and someone from Australia won it. So it cost me like $70 to ship it to them. But
No.
I felt really bad though because I couldn't not ship it. I didn't say no Australia in the
Right.
contest.
Oh,
That's right. Oh my. Oh dear. Yeah, that was from the Las Vegas one, and I thought the plan was to give out everything as a prize, but Tio and some of the other people who were there just sort of decided to give it to me, which was really cool.
Aw.
Yeah, this is one. Maybe yours was like this too, but this is one that it's
It
not
was all
only
signed?
it's all
Yeah?
signed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's signed by the Galactic Starfighter development team. So the people who
Now,
actually
now
worked on
that
GSF.
I'm a bigger SWTOR nerd than ever, I'm more jealous now and jealous of the person from Australia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I was really touched, and I mean, sort of tried to turn it down, but they were very, very sweet and very insistent, and so I did end up with it. And I did the right thing. I spent a couple $100 and had
Yeah,
it
it looks really good in the
like
frame.
professionally framed and matted, and it has the UV protective plastic
Oh,
plastic
smart.
over it and everything. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. So it's pretty cool. All right, so let me go ahead and get this going then. All right, going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that is more machine now than man. This is episode 349, being recorded on Thursday, December 6th, 2018. I'm your host, Chill, and with me is my co-host, Dr. SWTOR. Hey, Doc.
hey, Chill, how are we doing today?
I'm doing fine, and can't believe I found another one from the actual episode for A New Hope. But
Yeah,
I
congrats.
did. Yeah, I know. And I also happen to like self-effacing humor, so we're all good. Our guest today is Swtorista. Welcome back, Swtorista. How you doing?
Hey there, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Yeah. And how much do you want to say right now? I mean, we're going to be talking a lot about your big announcement that you just made a day or two ago at the end of the near the end of the show for the Select Digest. But go ahead and say what you've been doing in game, and go ahead and introduce us to that as well.
Yeah, so it's a very exciting project. As you said, I just very recently released it to the public and to the world. Basically, there's an event called Star Wars Celebration. It usually happens every year, but the last year it just didn't happen. And this is the first year that I really felt the Star Wars The Old Republic community is really coming together. It's the first year that I've really gotten to know so many people in podcasts who make videos, who make blogs, all that kind of stuff, and the different communities that exist online. And I thought it would be really cool if this year SWTOR was represented by the fans at the actual celebration. So I applied for an actual booth on the floor as a fan, and crazily enough, it was accepted. And it's a huge collaboration between a bunch of different people, and we're going to talk about that later and everything it entails and how you can get in on it.
That is excellent. So cool. And the last time you were here, it was weeks and weeks ago. You mentioned that you were actually looking to create a fan booth at Star Wars Celebration, and it came together. That's amazing.
It did.
It's
I'm excited
cool.
to share the rest of the story with you guys later too.
Excellent. Okay, I can't wait. How about in game? What you been up to?
I've been having a ton of fun with my progression raid team. We're not doing nightmare mode or anything like that. We're kind of working our way up. I am sad though because we started a new operation, Hard Mode Terror from Beyond, and we literally destroyed it in one night. And I'm like, oh, this is not progression raiding at all. We need to be spending at least 6 months on every boss. So I'm like hoping and praying the next one is going to take us a few days, because the last one we did before that was Dread Fortress, and it was actually really fun. It was that level where you're not banging your head against the same boss for like almost a year, but at the same time, we really had some serious progression. People really had to tighten down on the rotations. They had to tighten down on the mechanics, and I love that. It's so much fun. It's definitely one of my favorite parts of the game is doing progression rating, if not at the highest tier. And on the easier side of things, I've been playing my Sith Inquisitor, and part of the thing I've been doing with that is a very extensive backstory and kind of personal history that isn't explored by the game. For example, the Sith Inquisitor is a slave when you start the game at level 1, but doesn't really tell you how or why. So I've been working with my community to kind of decide his story as we go, and it's just gotten so fantastic. We decide he was from Alderaan. We decide his family's from there. We decide he worked with the noble houses when he was younger, and now I have finally reached Alderaan, and it just really feels like everything we put into it has paid off, because now that I know so much about them as we're entering the story on Alderaan, I'm like, oh, I know what house that is. I know who that is. Oh gosh, this is part of my backstory. This is so cool.
That is awesome. Very nice.
Yeah.
And is that character at level, or is it like level 70 but you're going back, or what?
I'm actually playing on a free-to-play account, so I'm doing all the quests in the game. So I'm way over leveled. I'm on Alderaan, and I think I'm like level 46. So
right.
I don't really mind it too much with the level sync. I honestly don't even notice it, to be honest.
For the most part, yeah, exactly. That's very nice. All right. And anything else?
I've been absolutely geeking out about the State of the Galaxy address that the developers made. I've been wanting this for like 2 years to find out what the Jedi are doing, what the Sith are doing, stuff like that, because it's not really explored as much in the expansion stories. And I'm really excited to be talking about that with you guys later too.
Yes. In the show notes, there's sort of I put like the basics of it. There's a much fuller version that's actually on SWTOR.com, and people can definitely go there. The reason I also cut down what it was, not only for length, but also because, but also because
Very
it was
long.
really, it was kind of interestingly written, like from the point of view of Lana Benico giving a report to the Alliance commander.
And it's different for
which
the
was really
Republic
cool.
side and the Imperial side, but you have to like pick and choose and try and compare to actually see what was different.
Right. Yeah. So there's some good stuff that'll also kind of let us know kind of what to expect a little bit in 5.10 as well, because it kind of sets it up galaxy-wide, which is very cool. So yeah, I was geeking out about that too. All right, Dr. SWTOR, how about you? What you been up to? What you been doing in SWTOR?
Well, as I was listening to the two of you talk, I realized that I just don't play the game that way at all. Like, your excitement and enthusiasm about these things is really nice to hear, because I've been in a bit of a lull in terms of what SWTOR's been for me. Like, I haven't been able to play as much as normal because, just schedules of other people, and then somewhat my schedule too. It's felt like just I haven't been able to run ops on the nights that I normally would, at the same frequency. But, with 5.10, I think it's going to do really great things for the game. But it's going to do a lot of things that probably are going to inconvenience me, and that's just by design. When you update a game that is, constantly alive. So, as far as playing the game, the 2 raid teams I'm on, one is an AIE raid team on Starforge, and that's the one. We're actually going to pass my 1-year anniversary raiding with them on Sunday.
Wow.
So that's cool. So a year ago from this weekend, I just randomly ended up filling in as a healer for a Dread Palace run, and
you never left.
I never left.
That's kind of how it happens, actually. Like, that's how a lot of our permanent raid members, someone was missing, someone else filled in, and then continued to be available for the next 3 months.
Yeah. So that's really exciting. We did our first hard mode op. We had a few people missing, but we had people fill in who did decent enough. We killed a couple bosses in Terror from Beyond.
Very nice.
And, for it being our first week trying content that's, harder than Story Mode Gods from the Machine and harder than, the hard mode EV and KP kind of.
Yeah, because it's a big jump between a raid that has very few mechanics, mostly just a basic DPS check, going to something that has true mechanics. And TFB is huge on the mechanics. There is so much going on and so many things that can kill you or mess up your raid group if you're not paying attention.
Oh,
yeah. So, like, just because I like creating Word documents, because I'm Dr SWTOR.
Nerd.
Right. So I was using a couple different guides, most heavily Dolphy, but looking for other things too, and just trying to create a document that puts all the mechanics, but in order. Like, so I'll just use Dolphy for example. If you're looking up how to win Terror from Beyond, you start out reading all the story mode, and then when you get to hard mode, it's like, we hope you remember everything from story mode, and here's what we're adding. And so if you don't remember what's in story mode, or you just wanted to read hard mode, you have to scroll back up to see story mode. So I was like, that is not like if I was making a classroom guide for how to do something, in counseling.
Yeah, it's very interesting for the operation guides. There's very few to no one writing them. It's quite surprising to me because they're something that I see requested so often. We've got the Dolphy guides.
Right.
In my list, I've got a really old one from Bloodbath and Beyond. I've got one from Mr. Rabbit that's even older, and nothing within the last 3 years has been made that I found on the entire internet yet. So
yeah.
if you want to share those Word docs, I'm sure some people would love to see them, because everybody learns different ways. Some people like videos, some people like Word docs that are meticulously organized, some like a very general overview, and it's nice to have those different options out there.
Yeah, my goal with, it's a work in progress, so I don't even have Operator 9 because we didn't down Operator 9. So, but my goal with that, just to keep me engaged in the game in my own way, was just, I want a Word document that explains hard mode, but also it does not assume that you know everything
have done
about
story mode. Yeah,
right.
You never know what raid you're going to jump into too. You may have just a random group of saying, hey, we have a spot open, and you're like, yes, me, I have my gear, I've learned my rotation, and then it doesn't necessarily mean you've done, there's 9 operations now? There's a
10, right?
10 with Gods from the Machine.
Yeah.
And there's one of each of those in story mode, one of each of those in hard mode, and then if you wander into nightmare mode, that's a lot of ones you couldn't have done beforehand too.
Well, right, and then I'll run into that similar issue. Like, I'm sure when I'm looking up the nightmare guides, it's going to be like, yeah, so remember everything in hard mode, and here's what we're at. So then I'll be like, oh, I have to update it. But that's something that maybe one day I'll have it finished. But it's just something for me to do to get myself ready for the op every week. I got to tank an op last night. We had some people doing the holiday thing, and we had a opening at tank, and we just decided, I need to level this tank up because I started the night at level 61, and so I'm a healer for people who maybe have taken a 5-month break from OotiniCast. So for me to tank an op, like, I haven't done that in probably a year.
Dr. SWTOR, how did that make you feel?
It was fun. Maybe it generated a little bit more empathy for me to keep tanks alive. I don't know, but it went really, really well. We did the easy stuff. We didn't have an 8-man group, so we just went into EV and we won, and we started KP and realized nighttime's the thing. So it was a good evening. So that's what I've been up to in game, just small things here and there, and creating Word documents. So Chill, who do we have with us tonight for the episode?
All right, the shout out to the chat room includes Agent Iron Spider, Anu, Avocado Badadado, Berryman, Commander Root, Dekion is here, as well as Fiona, as well as you, of course, Dr. SWTOR, Crazy RK, Medulla, Nick Vern 51, Naraga, Pen is here, Pendraco, Sir Galahard, Skinny Seahorse, Swtorista, our guest is here, Tade, V&K, Virgo Pros, and Marcus, Working Class Nerds 17 is here. Hey everyone. All right. I did quite a bit of leveling. I've really been enjoying it. I did a cosplay of Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty. Took him as a gunslinger, went a little bit past the class story. Finally decided to drop him. I liked how he looked. I think I made him as kind of as close as I could within SWTOR. Obviously very different sort of artistic styles, but it was a lot of fun. I was having troubles with it's like a pet peeve with me. It was the cover mechanic, because if the ground isn't quite flat, if there's a little lip or ridge there, sometimes you can't go into cover, and cover in place. I mean, you can roll to it, but also sometimes if you're on mounted and you hit your cover button so you can get going on stuff, it'll put you in the cover thing. It'll even put the little cover effects on your character, but you won't be considered to be in cover. So it's just a pet peeve of mine. It was getting frustrating playing with that, even though it only happens, not all that often. It's one of those things that, because it's a pet peeve of mine, I decided it was kind of making it unfun for me. I decided, okay, let's just drop this and go with someone else. So, but one thing I was noticing is that I was enjoying the range. I was enjoying playing ranged characters, because I played a lot of short range characters as well, and but I was just kind of enjoying being at a distance and maybe sending a companion up and all that good stuff.
That's one of the ones that I haven't played yet. I mostly play tanks, so they're by default short range, and I see those gunslingers and those telekinetic sages, and they're so far out. I'm surprised that they can even hit anything.
Yeah, and especially the gunslingers that get the extra 5 meters. It's crazy how far you can hit away from some of those abilities. And then the AoE ones on the ground, you can place them, and then they extend another few meters because of the circle. Yeah, it's crazy. So I thought, what are the other ones? There's sorcerers and consular, or there's mercenary, and then commando. And I kind of went through my old characters because I didn't really want to necessarily level up 2 mirror classes again. And I went back and found that my Harley Quinn character is level 70, pretty well geared. She's she's in the 200s or something on her CXP bar. And so I played with her just a little bit to sort of remind myself of whether I liked her how the abilities went together and all that. And I decided I did, so that meant I would be leveling up a commando, and I really haven't done too many troopers in the game, so this was only fourth maybe time I've seen the trooper story, so it actually really has been a while. And so I'm leveling a commando, not a specific cosplay, but I'm doing him as a cowboy essentially, so a cowboy commando.
Oh, I like it, cowboy commando.
So he's got the big handlebar mustache. 5 o'clock shadow. I darkened his skin a little bit to make it seem like he has a tan. I found him like a. I did try the Nico Okar Duster, of course, for a while, and that's fine. Certainly,
are you
it certainly
dressing
works.
like a trooper or like an outlaw?
So I've gone for a cowboy outfit. Yeah. So I did the Nico Okar Duster for a while. That was cool, but I've everyone's seen that. You know what I mean? Especially since a lot of people have the Nico actual companion. And so I looked around and I found I can't remember the exact name, but it's something Outlander, and it's basically like a gunslinger Outlander outfit, and it looks like a kind of like a cattleman's leather jacket, with kind of like the rolled like a rolled what do you call it, collar, and and a lot of like little leather pouches and stuff like that, and it dyes really well, and it has a full outfit, has the jackets and everything else. And I actually took some of those off and made it my own by adding different boots, different belt, dyeing it up and stuff like that. But anyway, so I'm doing the whole Cowboy Commando thing. It's been a lot of fun. It's actually kind of it's changed the story a little bit for me, because I've done the light side trooper story before, and it feels like a light side trooper story. But when I do it as like this cowboy, it feels different. It's hard to explain, but it's like hooking into that whole genre where you have the white hats and the black hats, and in this case I'm playing this character as a white hat, partly because my mercenary on the other side is Harley Quinn, so she's dark side obviously, and so that's why I have a light side. Yeah, exactly. He's the deputy. Yeah. So he's now also the major because he's in Act 3. I've just been burning through it. This has only been like I think a week or less, and I'm already on Act 3. I've been putting a lot of time on him, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'm liking him. And because he's sort of a generic cowboy, I named him Chill Star because, well, that is technically my actual last name.
Yes, Lone Star reference.
But there's Lone Star from Mel Brooks, and then just Star in general is a very usually actually on more the outlaw side, but there's a whole outlaw family named Star in the Old West. It was Bell Star and Bart Star, and there's a few other stars, and they were all like outlaws in Texas and Oklahoma, basically. And it turns out I'm not related to them. For years I thought I was, but my mom is the genealogist of the family, and she's done extensive searches, and apparently there's just no connection. But anyway, so it works. That works really well. I'm really enjoying him, and the spec is really good too. I can't remember what the actual name of the spec is. It's the middle one, and it's the one that has an awful lot of armor penetration in it. It's like it has passive armor penetration, as penetration when you use your main nuke on them, and like there's a couple of other abilities that also like have like armor reduction abilities. It's like why does anyone wear armor around this character? Because I'm just going to shred right through it. So it's pretty cool. And just finished Voss, and I think he's like level 46, something like that.
Wow, that's
and it's
so
going
close
really well.
to the end.
Yeah, I'm just blowing through the content on this one. Well, I've been doing a lot of leveling, so it feels pretty good to just kind of go fast.
Yeah.
All right, and before we go into the tip of the week, we do have a guild update from Dekion, our guild leader, along with Fee. And Dekion writes, "Greetings from the Outer Rim. I wanted to share the latest news about our guilds, Utini Knights and Utini Rage. The past few weeks have seen a slowdown in conquest and other group participation as the Utinis spend some final moments with family and friends before they journey to Ossus and disappear until the holidays." Yes, I imagine that's going to be true for me too. Last week, the Jar Jar Joyriders stormed the Valley of the Machine Gods and made it to Isaac's over an extended 2-night run. So very nice. On Sunday, we banded together and once again save the galaxy from the terror from beyond. Always fun. That last fight is so epic. For some guild leadership news, it's my distinct pleasure to announce that Cassandria has answered the call and been promoted to deck officer in both Utini Knights and Utini Rage. So congratulations, Cassandria. And Dekion continues, her passion for Star Wars and SWTOR and her plans for legacy game content will be the spark that will light the fire to drive engagement amongst our membership. A big congrats and a little sympathy to Cassandria. And thanks, Cassandria. Yeah, congratulations. And she actually did help me get my new character into the guild the other day, so that was awesome. Really appreciate it. And yeah, so she's been really good. And Dekion writes, that's all for now. I'm looking forward to the upcoming guild changes in Game Update 5.10. I'll bet he is. Now, where's that send mail to all button they promised? Yeah, there's a lot of guild changes that we've gone over in the last few episodes. So thank you, Dekion. Appreciate it. That will move us to the tip of the week. We have one tip this week. So you know who's going to win already because there's only one tip. So hey,
congrats.
Hey folks, at this point it's just easy money for, whoever sends it in. So yeah, send in your tips and we'll get some more of a competition going. But we do have a tip from Agent Iron Spider, regular contributor to the show. And Agent writes, this tip is probably known by many of y'all, but for those that didn't, this should help a lot. For a long time, I thought Bolster only affected the base armor stats, but it turns out that it also boosts the augments you have. So if you buy some low-level cheap augments from the GTN and equip them, any content with Bolster will further increase your stats, giving you an advantage over someone who is bolstered without any augments. Thank you, Agent. It's absolutely true, and that's PvP, and that includes a lot of other stuff nowadays, a lot of the story flashpoints and story operations and stuff like that. So,
wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it's a great tip. So thank you, Agent. You're obviously the winner of a Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and a new OotiniCast provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment, which apparently is going to be ultimate packs pretty much from here on out as far as I can tell. So if you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. And that will bring us to the Jedi Mind Trap. Doc?
All right, so this morning I realized, oh my gosh, I have to put a Twitter poll out. So I actually put just on Twitter, I haven't been tweeting very much, but that's mostly because I've been busy doing other things. So I was just like, any followers I have, if you're interested to know anything, help me figure out what my poll is going to be. And then Kid Lee was the first one that began interacting with me, and he just said something that asked about 5.10, and I was like, oh my gosh, that explains everything I've been feeling about this game the last couple weeks. So I'm just going to ask the community in general, what does BioWare expect us to feel about this change? What are they hoping that we feel? And luckily for BioWare, our community is prone to feel very different things than I am. So I just asked, when the games I play update and or change the main emotions I feel are excitement, dread, and concern. That was me thinking about the Dread Masters. I just couldn't resist. Indifference, and which is probably the most powerful tool that the dark side has against the light. And then fear, anger, hate, and thanks, Twitter, I couldn't fit suffering. So, before we go into the results, I think it would be really cool to find out from our guest, Swtorista, and also you, Chill. What's your general feel for 5.10 being right there? Just outside
it's
of
blowing
reach?
my mind. It's like literally, it's from the date of that we're recording this, it is less than a week away. It's like 5 days away. I can't believe that it's
so
come
close.
so fast. It feels like we had been waiting for an update for so long, and now suddenly it's just here. It helps that I think that some of the other updates recently were pretty cool, like the Rishi Stronghold that took the edge off the waiting. And in general about this update, I'm really excited. As you probably could have figured out from before, I'm really big on story. I really enjoy that. I'm also excited because there's the whole new planet is going to be different than what we've had for quite a long time, an actual open world planet, which is something I really like exploring and finding stuff. And I'm happy that there's a variety of stuff coming out, I guess I could say. So there's some story stuff, there's some daily stuff, there's the master mode gods, there's going to be new gearing, though I don't know what I feel about that specifically. At least it's something for people who like chasing gear to go after. And yeah, I'm definitely, excitement is my vote for this one.
All right, excellent. So Chill, what's your general theme and your feeling for the update we're about to get?
Yeah, it's definitely excitement. I'm always happy to see a new story. You know, I'm going to want to see it with different sides and different choices and stuff like that as much as I can. I'm not a big fan of like doing the same content over and over again, like dailies and stuff like that. But I don't mind doing like a daily area once a week for like for that weekly bonus and stuff like that.
I think that's what it's
getting
intended.
another one of those. Yeah, getting one of those will be great. You know, and certainly it's kind of, I'm sure people will be, you know, grinding out day by day at first, but it'll probably be geared more towards once a week, you know, eventually. And and it'll also be interesting because this is the big turn that the story is starting to take, because at the end of Kopfi we had the wrap up of everything that was not just SWTOR but KOTOR as well, as if you believe like I do that the Emperor was sort of like the driving force underlying virtually all of the story.
I'm excited to be just starting a new storyline as well.
Exactly. We are literally starting something following certainly the most momentous thing that has happened in SWTOR lore, because it's the largest thing that could happen in SWTOR lore, you know. So and we're going to see how this swings around, how it starts to turn out, and then it'll kind of get us all revved up for the for an expansion that will be coming sometime next year. That they know they've told us is coming, but they haven't really given us any details on.
Yeah. So Swtorista, you kind of hinted at where I am, because when you mentioned gear, gear. It's kind of it's the thing that keeps me playing. It's also the thing that I perceive as keeping me playing. So
right.
I feel like there's just... I need to see what it's like to experience the new thing, because I haven't gone the PTS at all.
Same here. Yeah, I decided to wait for this one.
Yeah, I mean, I did the PTS... I mean, I've done it in the past. Like, I went in and I fought Isaacs when all we had was Skyva, in Gods from the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not opposed to going in there, but if I, in my perfect world, I would just experience the content for the first time when the patch is real.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredibly broken, and BioWare's accountable for what they're giving us to play. No, I'm just kidding. Not really. I'm not kidding. That's actually true. So... My vote for this is not exactly dread and concern, but I'm like clawing in the gaming that I'm still doing in SWTOR to remember what it is I really like about the game, the teams I'm on, the hope that we're going in a direction that I'm like happy to continue going on. I really hope that the same kind of feeling for getting command crates is still intact, even though command crates seem like they're going to be less important. I really hope that weekly area is something that I enjoy being in. For example, I will do Yavin 4 whenever it becomes obvious that that's a fun, like that's a thing that I can do right now. If you ask me to go Iocath, I'll be like, no, I have work.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling the same way. Like Yavin 4, I really enjoyed it for whatever reason. It's nothing super special, but I liked it. And then Iocath, I did it once, and then I haven't stepped foot back again, but I want that reputation so badly. I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I think there's just some psychological choices that were made with Iocath that make it hard to stick with. Like the whole idea that I have to do most of it today and then come back and finish it off tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. It absolutely changes, doesn't it?
It's just a strange choice. I'm hoping that choice is not made with how.
Well, they have to test things
OSIS
out.
works.
The idea would be a player would be more willing to play on a frequent basis if things are spread out over multiple days. But
Yeah.
obviously, if they don't want to play it at all, that didn't work then.
Right. Also, I think it's just like I perceive that gear as being available to Nightmare Raiders, and I've never been a Nightmare Raider. Like, I just haven't.
Yeah, I was trying to dig into the different ways you earn gear as of what they've said on the developer forums, and I'm kind of surprised that you could just go do the OSIS dailies and eventually you'd get gear. Like, to me, that means they should be really, really hard, but I haven't tried them out yet, so.
Yeah, so I read a post about all the different ways to earn the different materials, and Chill, wasn't the whole motivation behind 5.0 to simplify things? Like, good
It was
Lord.
simple. It was simple till we all hated it.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
And they fixed it.
I'm going to tell the community right now, it is easier to do an analysis of covariance on all your personality types and figure out how that meshes with your motivation to play SWTOR than it is to get 258 gear. Like, you just like
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
Yeah, when I wrote my guide, I think I copy and pasted it into a Google Doc trying to test something, and I was like, oh my god, this thing's 56 pages long and it's not even finished yet.
Right. So I mean, there's just a lot of things that I'm like tensed up, ready to just go in and start experiencing it. And I'm really encouraged that the community is not at large that way. So let's look at the results. 67% of 66 total voters today are excited for this.
And that's
coming
nice
our
to
way.
see, because often people have not necessarily liked the past two big expansion updates, like very mixed feelings about the story. So I'm happy to hear that people are excited versus being kind of worried about the future of the game.
Well, I mean, let's look at who's voting though. So people who follow me are voting in this. People who follow the people who retweeted it are voting in this, and they probably are following me. So there might be a
bias going on there.
Right, there might be a very positive bias. Now, I do get people who are very skeptical and love other games more than SWTOR at this point, who still follow me and communicate with me when I say things about this game. So, you know, there are people, like, there's good representation for dread and hate and indifference too. But, you know, just like with everything in the internet, at least when you do a poll, the people who are positive still will vote. The people who are not positive will vote and, you know, share a conversation with you too. So, you know, I just think that we have a lot of really good stuff coming our way. I think if this goes well, then I think that leads to more content.
I think so too, for sure.
I'm
The better response they get from this, the better the expansion is going to be, because they'll be more willing to invest in it.
Exactly. I'm really hoping that this Jedi Under Siege is sort of like a tease for the big thing, kind of like Legacy of the Rakata, you know, After Depths of Manon.
They've described it as somewhat of a prelude before, so I can only imagine that's what it's going to be.
I mean, in my ideal way of seeing this, that's what I'm hoping for. So, you know, it's just I'm waiting, and you know, just in terms of how transitions happen, I think that it's kind of normal for people to have apprehension. It's normal for people to look at the history of a certain thing and kind of predict. You know, if you have some concern, you know, maybe you're still scarred from Kotfi not being your cup of tea. Oh, wow, that's a funny thing to say. But, you know, I just hope, you know, all we can have is hope. Rebellions are built on them, and apparently our favorite franchises too. So that's all I have for the Mind Trap. So let's move along. Chill, what's next?
All right, that'll bring us to the Holo feed, and they did a nice little announcement that sort of let us know all the in-game events that are going to be coming through December and January.
And they get a gold star because this is the most amount of events they've announced in a row at any given point. Congratulations, BioWare, you have a calendar.
Pretty nice.
100%. Good job.
Yep, the Relics of the Gree event just finished. It went through December 4th. It will be coming again December 25th through January 1st. There's going to be a couple of bounty contract weeks. One is going to be upcoming December 11th through 18th. Although I'll bet that's going to have a lot of competition with OSAS, so good luck. Good luck bounty contract week, bounty, having anyone do that one. But anyway, the other one will be January 22nd to 29th. And then there is going to be a Rakghoul Plague outbreak. This one on Corellia, January 8th through 15th. And perhaps the most important one, though, the Double Rewards event is coming back. That's going to be both regular XP and CXP. It's going to start December 20th, and it's going to go through the 31st, so right through the end of the year. Obviously, that's a little tricky time of year for a lot of people. If they're traveling or having people over even to their house, a lot of times it's hard to get game time in. But if you have some game time, double XP, double CXP, December 20th through 31st. So that's really exciting. And that will bring us next to the briefing from Lana Benico that we discussed a little bit earlier, Swtorista and I especially. It's on SWTOR.com. There's like a link in the show notes. And it's written essentially as a briefing from Lana Benico to you as the commander of the Alliance as to the state of the galaxy at the time of 5.10 Jedi Under Siege. It's very well written. It's pretty comprehensive in that it touches on everyone, every major power in the galaxy essentially. And I'm only going to hit the highlights because there's a lot of interesting little details. And certainly if Swtorista or Dr. SWTOR, if you've read it and you want to bring something up, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to do the whole thing because there's a lot of little details. Summary: the war is inevitable between the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire. The Alliance cannot stand alone. Both factions are eager to secure our allegiance, and this is of course. Once we've been demoted, we're no longer truly a galactic power because the Eternal Fleet and the Gravestone are both no more following the events of the Traitors Trilogy. But as Benico says, given the tremendous skill of the individuals in our ranks, we are far more desirable as friends than as enemies. In writing about the Galactic Republic, Lana says, war against the Eternal Empire of Zakul took a heavy toll on the Republic, and infighting between the hardline supporters of former Chancellor Suresh and more moderate voices held up recovery efforts significantly. With Suresh's very public downfall, the moderates eventually gained control of the Senate, which is now led by Chancellor Galina Rands. Resource limitations continue to be an issue, however, so while the Republic is well positioned to defend its territories, its ability to redeploy its forces for offensive campaigns is limited. The Jedi Order, of course, within the Republic, information on the stats and whereabouts of the Jedi Order is still difficult to come by. If there is a functioning Jedi Council, they are entirely hidden. The most likely individual to be involved in a renewed Jedi leadership, Satil Shan, appears to no longer have any connection to the Order's operations. Rumors suggest that he has begun to train her own crop of students in a hidden academy on Coruscant, but our agents were unable to confirm or disprove these rumors. Meanwhile, in the Sith Empire, although the Sith Empire also suffered heavy losses in the war against Zakul, Darth Asina's solitary rulership allowed her to direct her government's resources more efficiently in the aftermath, and as a result, the Imperial fleet is now numerically superior to the Republic's, with superior troop numbers to match. Efforts to integrate non-humans into the military have been unexpectedly successful, further replenishing the Empire's ranks. And then there's two versions of this, especially of the Sith Empire version of this, and one is where Asina has essentially destroyed herself on Iokath, and the other one is where you side with her and instead she lives.
Rest in peace to Cena.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If Asina did die, then if she's alive, she remains the Empress. If she dies, then it's Emperor Vowron, who, of course, Darth Vowron has been around in the game quite a while. So he's one of the survivors of the war against Iokath. and he is well known as a cheerful and skilled participant in the schemes and treacheries common among high-level Sith. Yes, he is. Before her death, or, ignoring that sentence if she's alive, Empress Asina consolidated the Dark Council down to 5 seats, presumably to lessen infighting and streamline decision-making. Emperor Vowron, if he exists, has made no move to alter this change. In the full version of this, it also says exactly who those people are and what they control, but I think here we can probably skip that. Hutt Cartel. The Hutts have steadily gained strength in recent years, culminating in negotiating an amicable nullification of the treaty the Republic imposed on them in the aftermath of the Makeb debacle. Recognizing the opportunity presented by recent food shortages, the Hutts offered a staggering donation of foodstuffs to the Republic in exchange for exiting the treaty on peaceful terms. The Hutt responsible for brokering the deal, Brogal, has risen to overall leadership of the cartel. Invoking an ancient tradition, he has selected his own title and styles himself the Sovereign Magnet. So that's pretty interesting. The Hutts are coming back too. Meanwhile, however, in Zakuul, independence from the fallen ruling family has done little to improve Zakuul's prospects. The degree to which Zakuulan society relied on Valkorion and the Eternal Throne becomes more apparent day by day. She gives some more details, but essentially, if you've done the Katvi Kotet story, you hear a lot of little bits about how dependent the people are, how sort of especially if you're not in the lower ranks, but if you're anywhere above the lower ranks, you're just sort of there's a sort of a malaise where everything is sort of handed to them. The droids do everything for them. They have plenty of everything coming in from all over the galaxy to sort of, to keep them, fat and happy, essentially. And it's clear that when the ruling elite of Zakuul, fell and they were no longer a galactic power, that has sort of put them into a much lower status. So that's what's going on with Zakuul. Were there any of those that particularly struck you or that you wanted to add on to?
I could talk about the whole Jedi Order thing for 6 days, but I don't think it would last on this podcast. One of the cool little things I did want to talk a little bit about was that Dark Council. And so I am not very good with names. So what I did was I broke down who each of the people who were mentioned in this article and where they came from and what they were. So what's crazy is that 2 of the new Sith on the Dark Council are literally from a diplomacy crew skill mission. They don't have we don't know what they look like, we've never seen them in the game, they're just mentioned in a very short snippet for that diplomacy mission, which is super cool. And
that's cool.
It actually has a lot of context and makes sense why they might be on there, and there's probably going to be some interesting storyline between them. We've got Darth Malora, who we've met before on Korriban, the Tukata girl apprentice.
Right, she's the one who's trying to screw over her master, and you can either help her screw her over, or you can screw her over, or you can kind of ride the middle line and just kind of let them deal with it, but not screw either of them over. Yeah. The
4th one is Darth Krovos, who is a quest giver for the Kuat Drive Yards flashpoint on the Imperial side. If you remember Admiral Rankin, and Darth Krovos is a very, very tall, big lady who'd probably whoop your butt, a Sith lady. And then the last one depends on whether Valorans are alive or not, and that's Darth Shar, and she's from an Imperial side quest on Belsavis. So it's really cool that they've kind of dug into the lore to grab these characters and pull them into the forefront. They aren't just ones that were made up for the story, kind of like Tau Adair was for the Republic side, which is really cool, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That is super
That's
cool.
Very
it
nice.
takes a lot of planning too, because whether they had grand schemes for these characters or not, they still had to have the self-control to create a character and leave them there.
Right. And then find them again when they needed them. Because, there's so many characters at this point that, I can almost imagine them saying, oh boy, we're going to need a whole new Dark Council. And then they have someone like low on the totem poles, hey, just, could you spend a few hours just going around to old content and finding
some cool Sith. Yeah,
finding little
cool.
Sith who don't have anything else to do in the game, but who are maybe not clearly dead, and we can maybe raise them up into Dark Council members. That's pretty cool.
Well, that's the tough thing too, is saying they're not dead. they could show up in the Inquisitor storyline and then be killed off in the Smuggler storyline or something.
That's true.
So you
That's
have
absolutely
to
true.
you have to do that that research to make sure none of the 8 class stories have killed this character.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really interesting. And Chill, listening to you read them, 2 things popped in my head. When you questioned the existence of Valron, I was like, that needs to be an official part of canon, that Chill can delete people from existing.
If he exists.
Right, if he exists. That took...
Not if he's alive.
He's a Schrodinger's emperor.
Right, I mean, right, yeah. So that took Lana's report to a whole other place for me, and I really enjoyed it. But back in the game, so thinking about how you craft a story, they included what's going on with the Hutts, which is expansion number 1,
Mm-hmm.
and Zakul, which is...
Hey, what about the Revenites now? I need to know what they're up to.
I'm just saying, like, if we needed a war of the 5 kings, right? For...
We've got our factions, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so
one group I've seen people ask about a lot that weren't mentioned at all. I've heard people ask what's going on with the Mandalorians, which I think is a really interesting question.
That's a really good point, is they kind of
Right.
joined up with us.
You know, a little bit.
Right, we got a fair bit in the one chapter, where we see what's going on. They talk about how they've just been kind of pushed around, essentially.
Yeah, I know that the Mandalorians would be big on the honor of dying in combat and things like that, but I kind of wonder if there would be a way story-wise to, like, would it be appropriate for a different outcome to exist between you and maybe Shae Vizsla, depending on your vet and Torian choice? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen vet die, so I always let Torian die. But I'm just wondering, like, what would that do to the strength of the Alliance that you would just so easily sacrifice one of their, important members?
They've got a culture of war. They understand choices need to be made.
Yeah.
If you could easily argue that Vet was more useful to the Alliance, and that I think what my character said something along the lines of, I felt Torian was more likely to be able to handle himself, or something along that lines, and I feel like Shae would accept that very easily.
Oh yeah, Shae would, but if someone wants to go to war with us in the Mandalorian ranks, like...
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I just think there's a lot of really interesting... Like, our choices could all come back to bite us if BioWare just really wanted us to have a story where they let us have it. Like, there could be no safe path, and you just end up with this really seemingly random stream of chaos that actually goes back to your choices. Like, you did switch out the poisoned creature on Korriban. So, like, you have enemies on the Dark Council because ever since your days as a budding slave Sith Lord wannabe, they've been...
I'm gonna laugh really hard if whether you've done that crafting mission or not comes up. You talk about the Dark Council.
Take that, you people
Yeah.
who don't craft.
Well, it's true, and there's been times, for instance, like where you make even like light side decisions. Like, for instance, if you decide to not kill Arkin but to redeem him, that seems like all wonderful fluffy stuff right at the moment, but then in the Traitor's Trilogy you find out that there's some of these people from those planets that he bombed just to spite you, essentially, and they're extremely upset that he's been essentially pardoned without punishment, and they actually want to kill you, and there are repercussions even for light side very light side choices. So they've done some good stuff that way.
Oh yeah, like, just on our choices, when we do flashpoints, every time we do Hammer Station, we blow a moon up or something, right? Like, that's...
Yeah. I sometimes joke that we can hardly leave a place without it exploding behind us.
Yeah. So I'm really excited. I just think that they're laying the groundwork for everything to be all in it to win it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping it goes somewhere in that direction.
Excellent. All right. And one last little note. is that the PTS for 5.10 did close. That was a little while ago, November 28th, which is a good sign for the upcoming release on December 11th of 5.10. So that's less than a week away. I can't wait, and I know you guys can't either. So let's go on to the force feedback where we read out your tweets and emails. In this case, we've got a letter from that Duck Sauce G, and he says, "Hey, chill, as we discussed November 21st, I have upgraded some of my hardware and my machine is running really well now. I'm in the final stages of setting up some playlists and so forth. Then I'm ready to go. As of this coming Saturday, December 8th, so that's 2 days from this recording, 1 day from the podcast, I will start streaming. I anticipate my start time around 8:30 to 9 p.m. GMT. Stream should be on for about 4 hours. Within this, I have a bulk of tunes, 14 of them, on the DM server and 8 on SF. In my stream on December 8th, I will be launching with some giveaways during the stream, as well as encouraging community involvement in Warzones, Flashpoints, and so on. My channel will be a welcoming home for all things SWTOR, as well as throwing a few other games in from time to time." And there you go. My channel will stream at twitch.tv/thatducksauce. THATDUCKSAUCE. May the force be with you. All right. Good luck, that Duck Sauce, and look forward to seeing you on the stream.
Yeah, good luck.
Excellent. That'll bring us to the Sarlacc Digest, where we go over the issues for 1,000 years, or until we run out of time. And of course, we're going to be going over Swtorista's big news.
Yes.
Do you want to just go ahead and take it, Swtorista, and we'll ask you a question once in a while or whatever. But yeah, go ahead and just give the announcement, even though it's been public a couple of days. But give us the announcement, and then we'll go into all the details.
As I said at the very beginning of the show, we're going to have a Star Wars: The Old Republic fan community booth at the convention for Star Wars Celebration 2019. It's in Chicago.
Yay.
It's the official days are April 11th through April 15th. If you're hearing this and you're like, oh, I live near Chicago, I'd love to go. There is very few tickets left, so if you want them, go and get them. Like, some of the days are already fully sold out. Just go right now. I'd rather more SWTOR players get to go than other Star Wars fans. Shh, don't tell them.
Yeah, that's so true.
Right, and they sold out the full weekend passes like within hours of releasing the tickets at all.
Yeah, the VIP passes were sold out in literally seconds. The 5-day passes were sold out in 2 days, and like the past conventions that had taken till near the convention for them to sell out. So it's been crazy.
Yeah.
We don't know what caused it, but yeah, get your tickets now. Even if you can't get tickets but live near Chicago, the official Star Wars: The Old Republic team should be hosting some type of event where you do not need a ticket to enter. At least that's how it's been in past years. So just keep your eyes on like SWTOR.com and the SWTOR Twitter to hear about that event.
Right. They haven't been able to commit to it, but they've definitely expressed an interest in having something there, and I find it very likely that they will. But just watch the space, and they will. We'll of course let you know if they do that. Okay, so what's going to be happening at your booth?
All right, so when this started, I wasn't really sure what would be at the booth. I was kind of like, there should be Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Right.
I didn't have much more than that. And then I started asking myself, what? We had to make an actual group, like a club, because I don't want to go as the Swtorista fan club. No, that's a little weird, and there'd only be one player in it, and it would be me. So I started kind of connecting and saying, who else would I want to be part of this project? And I was like, I want everyone a part of this project. Absolutely everyone who can be involved. So I started reaching out to people like you guys, podcasters. I started reaching out to bloggers, to video makers, to a couple streamers. I started reaching out to the SWTOR subreddit that I'm already a moderator of, and the moderators there were like, yeah, this is such a cool idea. And the biggest Discord community is going to be a part of it, because they were like, hey, this is a great idea too. And I obviously on Twitter, there's not so much as a specific club or a group, but there is the SWTOR family hashtag that kind of functions as a nice little SWTOR family on Twitter. So I reached out to Madmar, who leads the official account, and was like, hey, you want to be a part of this? And he was like, sure. And lastly, I don't Facebook very much, but I do know it's one of the ways people like to stay connected. So I start looking around for how do people SWTOR on Facebook, and there is a very kind club called the SWTOR Players Club, and I figured, hey, let's bring them on board too. So by the time I'd invited everyone, I kind of decided what would be the goals of the group, and that would be really simple ones. I don't have anything crazy going on. The goals are just to connect players with other players, to promote non-toxic, friendly online gaming, and to share knowledge and guides about the game to help out others. Really easy, and almost 90% of players in the game already probably fit those lines of thought. Be nice to each other and play SWTOR. And at the booth itself, I'm hoping to have, number one, a super, super huge giveaway. Just from my own stash alone, I'm going to be giving away 100,000 cartel coins worth of items. Yeah,
on different servers or
any server, yeah.
Wow.
And 1 billion credits, and
1 billion credits
yes,
with a B, huh?
With a B, yes. And I also have hosted lots of contests in the past, and I've had other players say, "Hey, Swtorista, can I give you some stuff to give away?" And I'm always in the past, I would say, "No, it kind of makes it more difficult because your stuff's only on your server, and I don't want to track all your stuff in addition to all the prizes I'm giving away." So what I wanted to do this time was really give those players who are hoarders and collectors a chance to share their stuff with others. So I've created a special database for entering the contest, and so after I've picked my own names, I can give out names to other players. Like, let's say Bob entered on the Starforge server. Well, if there's another player in Starforge who wants to give prizes, I can just give them their name and they can pass on the prize as well. So I have no idea how big it's going to get, but bigger than 1 billion credits and 100,000 cartel coins.
Wow, that's cool.
I can't even wrap my head around what you're saying right now. That's so much stuff.
The 1 billion credits was actually literally a gift from a player who was moving on to real life or another game. I can't remember. And they said, "Hey, can you do something with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can probably figure out something to do with 2 billion credits. I've already given away 1 billion. I can give away another 1 billion too."
Wow.
Jeez.
I need your
That's crazy.
The next thing I want to do is one of the things I really wanted to bring to the booth was the fact that we're very digital. We're digital nomads, I guess you could say. Right now, we're all talking on the internet with webcams. Well, you guys are at least, and everyone's in chat with us, and they're connecting digitally. And I think that's really cool. But I wanted to try and bring the physical side of SWTOR to the booth, and I wanted to start with giving away something real, something you could touch and feel and hold and bring home with you as well. So I don't know exactly what. But I will be giving away something cool. I'm hoping to have like a really nice lightsaber. I'm going to be trying to making some props that people can hold to take photos with and give those away at the end. And of course, Eric Musco will be providing prizes of some sort. He's already promised, yes, he will have some cool physical items, but he hasn't told me what or how much yet.
That's excellent. Yeah, he probably he may not know because
he doesn't know.
I mean, again, this is very speculative, but you know, if there is going to be like an expansion, maybe by April when that's happening, maybe some of that will be some of that will be publicly. Maybe they will have publicly announced it. Maybe they'll
seems like perfect timing to me to announce it at Star Wars Celebration.
Yeah, or even slightly before it, so that they can give
celebrate it there.
Yeah, exactly. But here's hoping. I mean, who knows what the timing is? But here's hoping, because that would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be so cool. And back to the physical side of things, I really wanted people to be able to, even if they don't win, hold and touch something from Star Wars: The Old Republic. So there's actually another group interested in the Old Republic era. I believe they're cosplayers of the Old Republic, and they're players specifically who enjoy dressing up as Theron or Bastila or Revan or any of the characters that exist in the Old Republic lore. And we linked up once the fan clubs had been accepted, because they saw my name on the mailing list and were like, "Hey, you want to link up and do something?" And I was like, "Definitely, absolutely." So what we're hoping, we have to wait for the event organizer to actually organize. And we're hoping we'll, at the very least, have our booths together. So you'll probably see cosplayers nearby, which would be very cool. And
that would be very helpful, actually, yeah.
Yeah, at the best range of things, we might even have extra area in our booth to specifically have like a cool backdrop. You can come, whether you're in costume or not, and take a photo. And what I'm hoping to design are some holocrons, datacrons, I guess you could say, and that actually glow. So I'm going to be working with some acrylic, working with some spray paint, and working with some LED lights in the near future.
Awesome, yeah, and probably like one cube and one triangle, so you can have a Sith one. And
I haven't figured out how to make a triangle yet, so I'm sticking with the square Datacrons. I'm actually gonna. This way I could figure it out was to buy those cases that you put basketballs or footballs or soccer balls in to keep them safe because they're already cute size.
There you go.
I'll stick to the spray painting part. That part I know I can handle. Another cool thing that should be happening is that, much like you said, Eric Musco doesn't know exactly what's going to happen. It's still quite a ways away, and he specifically said we don't start planning till a certain amount of months before any event happens, so we don't lock anything down. But he said he's hoping to have at least some BioWare employees come head over to the booth, and
that would be good.
That would be super cool.
This is awesome. Yeah, and because the game has been out long enough, and there's not so much hype around it so much anymore. When they do an expansion, there's a little bit of media that comes out, but it's really very, very minor. Like,
I feel like 2019 is going to be the year of SWTOR kind of coming back.
That would be awesome because
like the new expansion.
Yeah, I definitely like in my stream at least a couple times a week, someone new drops by and says, "Hey,
SWTOR is still alive?"
This game is still going, or how is it going? How many people are? They always ask stuff like that. Are people playing? Is it still? And I always say, yeah.
The easy answer is I probably wouldn't be doing a podcast if nobody was playing.
Yeah, exactly. And also, it's like, well, I kind of even kick it upstairs. I go like, well, we have another, we have more content coming in December, and then we know that there's at least one more expansion coming out.
Yeah,
so they wouldn't do that if the people weren't there. There's no way they'd be working on expansion. It would be way too much. So this is very exciting, very cool.
Yeah, so speaking of people who don't think the game is dead, there's going to be a lot of volunteers holding that table, and some of the people I've invited are many of the podcasters. So as far as I know, some people who will be showing up are Mox from the Passionately Casual podcast, Magic Ace and Elise from the Council podcast, our very own Fiona and Decion from this very podcast, and they're going to be my special helpers. We actually received a few special tickets to allow volunteers to come in, and Decion and Fiona committed so much to it. I just gave them to them so they could come and be there the entire time and support the fan booth. There will be Marcus from Working Class Nerds podcast.
Awesome.
There will be Ted from the SWTOR podcast, and Max from the SWTOR Escape podcast will be somewhere in the convention, so you'll have to snap a pic with him if you see him.
That's excellent. Yes, we'll definitely have to. We considered having Decion and Fee on tonight as well. But there's a lot of people, and Dec and Fee said, we'll let this be Swtorista's night, but we'll definitely have them on soon so that they can talk about, how excited they are, which I'm sure they are, and what they plan on doing, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, was it difficult to actually get a booth? Like, what's the process like?
So what happened was I was freaking out about Star Wars Celebration when I realized there would be one this coming year, because I obviously the last one didn't happen. They just skipped a year, maybe was a quiet year.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure. And
they said even at the one in Orlando that we went to, they just said at that time that there's not going to be one next year, and then they're planning for the year after. They did not give a reason.
So as soon as it's a very silly reason what started all this. Actually, it started with taxes at the end of last year when I was starting to make enough money on YouTube that I did have to actually declare it on my taxes, and I was like, I don't want to pay taxes. Well, that I do want to pay taxes. I just like money. But I started researching, well, as a business, what do I do about my taxes? And one of the things was write-offs. So I was like, I should definitely mark down things that I've spent to increase my equipment, like my computer and stuff like that, my microphone, blah, blah, blah. And one of the weird things on the list was going to conventions or expos related to your industry. And I was like, I should go to an expo, and Star Wars Celebration seemed like the right one. So kind of a ridiculous way to get started, but there we go. So when I started researching into things, I bought tickets like the moment they became available. I got my hotel the moment it came available, and that was apparently a really good choice. But I also saw on the website they had fan booths. I was like, maybe it would be cool. I started writing down in Google Docs just everything that I wanted to do with this, because it was a fairly lengthy application. You had to get numerous people marked down as leaders. Because we're not a conventional club, I had to kind of go find some people who'd be willing to stand in as leadership. I think Fiona and Dekion represented SWTOR family in some way or another.
Nice.
And so basically I told them, like, how are we a positive influence on the Star Wars community as a whole? What kind of things do we have that are a lot different that other clubs might not have? What kind of things do we do together? What kind of goals have we achieved? What kind of activities do we plan? Like, it was not a short one. I don't know what the competition was like. I do know there, I assume that certain groups kind of get in every year simply through having done it so many years. You'd want to have them again the next year. So I don't know if it was really hard or not, but I'm really happy it was accepted.
Yeah.
I had no idea if we were even in the running or not until they kept pushing back the date where they'd contact us, and I was starting to get worried. I was like, did they not get enough good applications? They're trying to get some better ones.
Oh, probably not
happens. That happens all the time, though.
It was just
it's probably just a huge undertaking, versus the amount of people they have
because
working
not
on
only
it
are they just looking for fan booths, they're also looking for fan panels, they're also looking for fan podcasts, they're also looking for fan props and statues and stuff like that, and replicas. And wow, that must be a lot of work to plan Star Wars Celebration, especially at the rate it's grown to.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's very exciting, and and let's say let's say like me, you can't really make it to Chicago at that point. What other than just sort of basking in your glow, what can we do regarding this?
I will happily share my glow. I know you guys can't see on the podcast, but I'm grinning ear to ear. So my idea was to try and bring the spirit of the online communities to the show. And my other idea is try and bring the show to the online communities, because there's, like I said, we're digital. We're from all over the world. We're from lots of different countries. We're from different age groups and different economic classes and everything. And only a few people out of all of us can go to Chicago. Especially, it seems SWTOR seems to be a very small segment of those who have bought tickets and are going. And Chicago's far away from a lot of places. It's not even on the east or west coast where most players are from. So the first thing I'm going to do is obviously be giving away giveaway stuff online. So
cool.
The places we'll be doing giveaways closer to April 2019 are the SWTOR Reddit, Twitter via SWTOR Family, Facebook on the SWTOR Players Club, and the official SWTOR Discord. And that will be next year, though. One of the cool things that I'm really hoping to make happen, I'm trying really hard, but there's a lot of hurdles, is to have a live cam at the booth and to allow players to either do podcasts actually in the booth, to maybe let people walk around the area or show people in costumes and stuff like that actually live, like on Twitch. We will likely be ordering internet for the booth because the Wi-Fi is not going to be good enough. So I'm hoping to make it happen. Fingers crossed. Send me some luck, please.
So they have a way for you to like purchase like a hard line, essentially.
I haven't figured out how that will transfer to like a phone or something, but I'll make it happen. Some hotspot or something. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's almost, it would, I'm sure there's got to be ways to do it. So.
One of the fun things that I actually have made work, which I'm really proud about, is I wanted there to be a lot of photos, and I wanted them to be in a centralized place, and I wanted them to be easy to find. So like I said, I really want people to have some kind of physical thing happen at the convention. So I wanted people to be able to take photos and share them with everybody very easily. So at Disneyland, what they do when they take photos is they'll take one with your camera or your phone or whatever you have on you, and then they'll take a second with their camera. The one on your camera, you do whatever you want with. The one on their camera will automatically get uploaded to their servers, and so you can go print it at home or whatever. No matter what happens to your phone, you'll always have that photo there. So my idea was to have volunteers have a specific phone that they take photos with, and I've actually tested out some automation. So when you take a photo with that phone, it will be uploaded automatically to our SWTOR community Twitter account, and it'll have the hashtag and the time and everything on it, so you can find it whenever you want, even if you don't have your phone out to take the photo, and anyone else who wants to kind of live vicariously through the photos can take it as well.
Wow, that's really cool.
That's fun.
I'm super happy that was working. So that one's a big check that is actually going to happen. And another neat thing is anyone else who's at the convention and has given authorization to the Twitter account, they can do it too. So you might wind up seeing photos from different props or different groups that are hanging out at the convention center too.
That's great. Have you? There's you, of course, and then you mentioned the Old Republic cosplayers. Are there any like other podcasts or anything who have been able to get a booth?
The official list of fan booths is not out yet. I tried asking if I could share it because I'm a big information sharer, but I got a kind of an ambiguous answer, so I decided it wouldn't be very polite to share everyone's emails and stuff like that without confirmation that that's what they want to happen.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, none of the podcasts as a whole could come for SWTOR, but there's lots of bits and pieces of people coming from each podcast.
That's really cool. And are you going to be cosplaying?
I hope so. I feel like my schedule's so full just from trying to plan everything. I'm gonna be working on those Datacrons, and then if I have a chance, I'll have a really simple cosplay.
That's awesome. Yeah, because you're gonna have tech stuff. You're gonna have getting people together stuff. You're gonna have to be organization stuff. It's gonna be crazy.
Hey, if anyone wants to make me a full set of size extra small trooper armor, I'm game. I'll wear it.
Awesome. And so SWTOR Fan Community is the website?
Yes, and SWTORFanCommunity.com has all the information, and we'll have all the how you get into things as you go, and we'll post a link in the description of the show as well.
That's excellent. Yeah, it's this is really exciting. So we can sort of keep an eye on that space for any changes that you make or updates or so on. And is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I'd love to share about how people can involve who are not going to the event but want to contribute to the project in some way. So one of the goals, as I said, was to connect players with other players. And one of the things that I found has really, really grown my love of the game is being able to join a guild. Because without a guild, you're kind of in the wild, wild west of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Maybe you'll come across someone you make friends with, maybe not. But a guild really gives you the chance to have a smaller group of people to talk with and who are more likely to want to do things together. So I really want to make a small but high quality catalog of guilds who are specifically recruiting in April 2019. So if you guys out there feel you have a really great guild that you love, send me a message either at Swtorista on Twitter or email me swtorista@gmail.com and just give me your contact details or your guild leader's contact details, and I'll message you again in 2019 to get all the details about your guild. I'm building like a database so people can check online, as well as our volunteers will have like a printed copy. So if a potential new player comes by and says, hey, I used to play SWTOR, but then my friends stopped playing, so I didn't know what to do, they can say, hey, look, I got this list of cool guilds. What server are you on? The second thing is I have a lot of crazy ideas, as I've said on this podcast, and I would love feedback on a lot of them. I'm creating kind of like a little Discord test group to bounce ideas off of and help me test the technical side of things. Like one of the things I need a lot of help testing is the codes for the giveaways. I have like an actual system, kind of like SWTOR.com has a code system, and there's going to be over 3,000 codes. So I need some help making sure that the basic entry system works.
Right. So you keep track of what codes have already been given out,
exactly.
or otherwise used up. Woo.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
Project.
You're so ambitious, Swtorista.
Hey,
like, oh my
go
gosh.
big or go home.
Yeah. No, it's
I'm
really
happy
impressive
when I'm planning something. So this project makes me very happy to look forward to doing. And so if you guys, you guys specifically, you and Chill, or you guys listening on the podcast want to help test that out, you do need to have Discord. It's a chat program that you can access from the internet. You don't have to download anything. Send me a message at Swtorista on Twitter or email me swtorista@gmail.com once again. And next is the in-game prizes. As I mentioned, I'm going to allow people from all servers to contribute to the prize pool if they're interested. So if you've got a hoarded stash of stuff you want to send, it has to be good stuff. I don't want your Rhodian mayonnaise sandwiches. Actually, I do, but no one else does. You can once again message me and let me know you want to be on the giveaways list, and I will message you closer to and let you know how that can be made to happen. One of the kind of generic ones I want to request is just being a friendly face in whatever community you're a part of, whether it's just this Twitch chat right here, or podcast comments, or Facebook or Twitter, or just general chat in game. Just be there and be nice to people. If you see someone asking a question, be that person who helps balance the dark side of general chat and answer it politely. Or if someone says, hey, I'm new, say hi, welcome to the game, instead of start rattling on about Jawa jokes and the dark side of Darth Plagueis or whatever.
Right.
If you are a cosplayer or you like to make things, I like to make things, hit me up. I'm especially looking for anyone who wants to display props from the Old Republic. I don't know how much space we'll have, so this one is kind of waiting on what the organizers say. And if you would like to give away any props that you've made, that would be very cool, and we can make that happen. And lastly, if you have ever worked with acrylic, please hit me up. I need some help.
To make those data crowns, yeah.
I've got all the planning in the world, but whether it will actually work or not, that's going to be the question there. Another question I have is if anyone has any props they would be willing to lend for people to hold, like the potential of it getting broken is high. I'm especially hoping some people have some lightsabers, like the nicer ones with the metal hilt and the glass rod for photos. If you have any ones that you're willing to lend and you're not too worried about them breaking, once again, get a hold of me. That would be super cool. Not the plastic ones you buy at Toys R Us, so.
Right.
And
you could do that yourself, right?
I can. Oh my gosh. One of my my family members works at Disneyland, so one of the cool things that they have there is all their old stock goes to a special store that only Disneyland cast members can shop at, and they had like those plastic lightsabers, like nice ones, for only like $3, and I was like, I need to get 50 of these.
Yeah. Did they get you some?
No, luckily my husband has been helping me fight my hoarding tendencies, so no lights.
Fair enough.
Another thing, I don't know exactly what I want to do with this, but I assume I will want some help at some point, is if you are a good artist, an artist that is good enough that you sometimes take commissions, please message me as well, especially if you like SWTOR, obviously. Sorry, my train's going by. And the last one is a cash grab. Yes. No, just joking. So this is a very expensive project. I was surprised at how much the costs started adding up for electricity, for the equipment rentals, for the printing costs, for the special prize codes, for the props, and possibly for anything else that comes up along the way. I'm actually going to be using a lot of my YouTube and Patreon money and just putting it right back into the community. So I will be able to cover all the basic costs, so I'm very happy about that. And the other thing is I can't provide anything like super and special and extra. For example, one of the things that we couldn't do was swag. I just couldn't get it down to a price that it would be really affordable for me and responsible to buy.
Right. Very cool, though. So we can help you out that way, too.
No, let me explain first. Don't just give me free money. So my idea was that if anyone wanted to specifically buy swag for this to give out, please get in touch with me because I can help with artwork. I just don't want to pay the cost of having it made. So some of the things we could do are enamel pins, which I really love. We could do less expensive buttons for collecting. We could do magnets. We could do, well, whatever you really want to do if you want to fund it. So if you're interested and you have $100 or more and you want to make something happen, hit me up and I will help you design it. I'll help you order it, and you just have to foot the bill.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah. Awesome.
Wow. And that's 4 months away.
Oh my gosh, yes. Let's do it.
Excellent. All right. Is there anything else, Swtorista? All
That's
right,
it.
then.
No more, please. I'm done.
Well, we're all very excited. Can't wait to see how that goes. It sounds like, well, beyond Dekion and Fee, I'm sure there's lots of other folks in the Utini community who are going to find little ways to help out. And I'm very excited for you. This is so cool.
I'm excited for
Excellent work, Swtorista.
All right, then, that's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satila Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /C join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to OotiniCast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @OotiniCast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, OotiniCast.com, which includes how to subscribe using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live bi-weekly on Thursdays, usually at 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to OotiniCast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby, and thank you to the chat room, and thank you, Swtorista. Oh, you still there, Swtorista? Okay.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
No worries. And we'll see you next show.
Yep, till next time, everyone.
All right, everyone keep recording. I'm going to sign off here, though. Thanks for coming, everyone. Very exciting news from Swtorista. And we'll keep an eye on that for sure for the next 4 months. Can't wait to see that. And you guys take care. I'm going to go ahead and sign us out here.
Bye, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.
See you, chat.
Stopping the broadcast.